now what everyone came here for.
Yes.
The Mandalorian finale.
Oh, oh,
Oh, baby.
I loved it. I know there's a decent amount of Star Wars fans that have had their gripes about the whole season. Were like,
Star Wars fans unhappy? Never.
yeah, they were more iconic duo. But I thought there was one small thing, which I don't even know if it was like the whole spy thing is the only questionable thing about the whole finale.
Yeah.
But overall, I loved it. I loved the whole fight, what Grogu was able to do, and actually, like, bounce around. But we got a happy ending in Star Wars
Yeah.
for now. But like,
It's not a good sign, is it?
I mean,
Actually, no, I'm not happy.
oh,
The Darksaber is gone.
You know what? I wasn't expecting that, but I'm glad. I actually am not against them destroying the Darksaber at all.
I'm not sure how I feel about the destruction of a species culture.
So here's the thing, though. It's been a curse for the Mandalorians.
I get that.
So in a way, you could
You
look at
think
it
it's
as
more of a symbol of them being able to unite?
yes. I think it's more a symbol of this is a new era of Mandalore, and unknowingly, essentially, Moff Gideon has kind of broken that curse and going to make them finally all unite as a clan and
Well,
race or whatever.
interestingly, there is a very popular fan theory doing the rounds on TikTok that I'm sure you've seen about Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
So in seasons 1 and 2, Moff Gideon had a little mustache.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw his clones
Mm-hmm.
in them back to tanks. They did not have mustaches. Moff Gideon didn't have a mustache this season. So some people believe that actually the Moff Gideon we have seen this season and saw die was not actually Moff Gideon, but one of his clones.
I don't know. I feel
It's an interesting
yeah.
it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure I buy it.
No, I don't think I do either.
I think so. Here's the thing: we know Grand Admiral Thrawn is back for Ahsoka.
Yes, we do.
We know that he is a very popular character and a very big fan favorite villain.
Yep.
And we know that we've got a film coming to tie up what has been referred to as the Mandoverse.
Yep.
The big bad for that film is most likely Grand Admiral Thrawn.
I would agree.
So I think bringing Moff Gideon back yet again
Yeah, no,
would feel empty.
yeah, I don't. You also need to remember, like, his his thing on the Shadow Legion or Shadow Council. He wasn't the one that was meant to be doing the cloning. So it's like I get a feeling his clones were like a little secret project he was doing.
Yeah.
So there's probably
he was trying to manipulate everyone else on the Shadow Council so that he could be the grand leader.
If you looked closely, some of those clones were messed up.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't think he'd perfected it yet. Also, he talked about the fact that he was trying to produce a clone that could then have the Force.
Yeah.
So I don't think he'd ever achieved like his final version of a clone. So I do think that was him and not a clone of him. Also, like you say, Thrawn's gonna be like the big bad going forwards. We obviously have Ahsoka, we have season 4 of Mando, and then we've got a film down the line. I think what we're gonna see is essentially Thrawn dealing with the fallout of the mess that Moff Gideon's now created.
I agree.
And that the Mandalorians have regained their planet in power.
I think season 4 is going to be. I mean, it'll have a more overarching story, I'm sure, but mainly it will be adventures that are a little bit more one shot. that are purely going to be about making Grogu ready
Yes.
to be a main character.
Yeah, I think I saw a good theory of what this like. I don't know if you remember in season 1 of Mando, there was I forget her name, the wrestler, who
Yeah,
she was the sheriff, and she
yeah,
was meant to be getting a spin-off series.
yeah. And then some of her old tweets
Yeah,
surfaced.
and it all got scrapped.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff will be there, and I think what we're going to see in season 4 is with Mando working with the New Republic, essentially some of those ideas that they probably would have run in that series of this like doing jobs for them and kind of bounty hunting, but on the good, like a good
Yeah,
side thing, as a way, like you say, to train Grogu up. And I think the overarching thing is going to be, um, I think the end of season 4 we'll see Grogu get to do his blessing in the waters or whatever,
yeah.
and reach that point of being able to speak the words,
I
leading
was
into the film.
screaming in that scene when he was looking at them discussing whether he could take the oath for him to just go, "This is the way.
I thought he was going to say this is the
The
way or
way this
something.
is."
Um, I did like, and this we're bouncing around, but I did like in that at the right at the end, he quite clearly felt the presence of the mythosaur and had like a little
Oh
force
yeah,
connection.
yeah. The mythosaur opened its eyes like, I sense a presence I have not
Mm.
sensed for a long time.
I have the theory of when it comes to Grogu doing his speaking the words in the waters and having his like blessing time or whatever they want to call it.
His baptism.
Yeah, his baptism. When that happens, I think the mythosaur is going to rise out of the water behind him, and then everyone's going to be like, "Oh shit, Grogu is our future."
You're just gonna have everyone tapping Din on the shoulder, going, "Well done, you raised a good one."
Yeah. But I mean, for the episode, for the finale, I thought we had a great fight scene, like the whole Mandalorians in the air, like that whole thing.
The
The amount of
jetpack
times where
combat was
yeah,
phenomenal.
like the way they kept showing I love the shot to be like a wide angle shot of like the planet surface, and then you'd either have TIE fighters like zipping out just to show like how fucking many there were, but then we got the same with the Mandalorians jetpacking. The whole like switch as they dropped in through the clouds, the TIE fighters happened to come out. We had Axe absolutely just make a wild fucking call on his own with no information to anyone else that he was just going to plow the ship into the planet. Um, Everyone was wrong about the armorer, or so it seems. I
Yeah,
mean, we made our
unless
theories.
this is a long con.
Whether it's a long con, I don't know. I think it's more a case of, which I kind of mentioned last week, which was obviously the armorer was Death Squad, hence why
Death
she's
Watch.
still Death Watch. Sorry, hence why
The
she still
Squad.
has the helmet and those
Yeah.
like iconic spikes and stuff. And obviously, Moff was just trying to
There was a
imitate
lot
the
of
Sith.
I think there was a lot of valid reasons why people thought the armorer was
Yeah,
up to no good. And if it would have turned out that she was up to no good, it would have been like the writing was there for them to go that way. I don't think it's a problem they didn't go that way. And I
no,
think if they want to go that way in season 4, they can play it off as a long con.
yeah. I I don't think she is, because then I saw a post that was like, if you look at everything she's done to try and bring the Mandalorian people back together, it's like, why would you do that to then screw everyone? It feels like a bit of a. She comes across sus at times, but in the grand scheme of things, she has actually done a lot for the Mandalorians.
But we all know that one uber religious person who, even though they are nice and you can trust them, you should look a bit like, you're a bit much, aren't you? It's just that kind of vibe. She's just crazy religious.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um,
But imagine being one of them stormtroopers in that fight, flying up and then just getting right hooked with a hammer out of the sky.
I said as we were watching it, I said to Jane, I was like, even if it turns out she is part of the reason that this has gone wrong and Paz Vizsla died, the way she fights is still badass as fuck.
Yeah, it's like imagine you got Mandalorians flying at you with guns. One's got the dark saber, and then one just comes from your left hand side with just a hammer, just to clock you
Yeah,
on the head.
just
Like
absolutely rips your head clean off.
I loved watching Bo fighting with the dark saber, and then meanwhile we've got fucking Grogu went and saved Mando. I loved that they kind of just didn't even hang about. That
Yeah.
Grogu was just like, nope, he's off. Grabs the gun, and he's like, no, no, no. Um, I have never cheered so much for Grogu as I did in this episode.
When he was laughing at the
Yes,
Praetorian guards,
yes,
I cracked. General was like, "Oh my god, he's scared." I was like, "No, he's laughing at
yeah,
them."
yeah. I was like, you could hear him making noises, and then the subtitle was giggles, and I was like, oh my god, he's laughing at, he's mocking them. The little guy's mocking him. Yeah, no, he was like completely juking them, and then you got Mando was getting his absolute shit beaten by Moff Gideon.
Yeah.
Bo saves him, and then between the moves between Mando, Grogu, and Bo throughout the whole fight, like as they
I really
slowly
like to
became
view.
cohesive.
Yeah, I really like to view Grogu as actually having the entire situation under control. And if he wanted to, he could have dealt with it in about 3 seconds. But he was like, "This is fun. I don't want to ruin your fun." So he was like, "Just move that. Just
Well,
move that. Just move
it's like
that."
that thing where it's like Grogu knows what to do, but it's like, well, this is Dad's fight. I've got to kind of.
Yeah, I
Dad's
don't
not
want to step on
told.
his toes.
Yeah, Dad's not told me to do anything. But like, there was the very cute moment where Grogu slid on his knees, just like Din Djarin does, and it's like, oh, he's slowly becoming a Mandalorian. He's imitating. And every time he used the Force, um, I was
Really
like,
controlled.
yeah, I was like, cheer. It's like it was quite clear that the fight in a way and the love that he has for Mando and Bo was unlocking the
For
skills
sure.
again. Um,
For sure.
yeah. Oh, what else? We also had the way Mando dealt with the guards in the on the run up to the
Okay,
control
yes.
center.
I shit my pants. Okay, so I'm gonna see if you can see the reason I got nervous. So what I saw is the wise master who has found a very powerful young force user chasing
Mm,
after a villain with horns and a
mm,
bunch of laser doors
mm-hmm,
that were gonna shut off and open and shut off and open,
mm-hmm,
separating people.
mm-hmm.
Do you see what I was nervous
Oh
about?
yeah. So to be honest, back when we first saw those doors when Moff Gideon walked through them, I had like that kind of, oh, this is like them laser doors. When we saw
Yeah,
it again this time, and obviously we'd had the helmet reveal and everything, I was like,
Jewel of the Fates. Fuck
let
no.
let's be honest. Moff Gideon is 100% full fanboying, like trying to be Darth Maul.
Uh huh.
Like
He's got a boner for Darth Maul.
yeah, he has an
Valid.
yeah, and he's like channeling everything he can about Darth Maul, and I think that was clearly on purpose by the
Even the
writers.
double-ended weapon.
Yes, like I fully think writers fully intentionally wanted you to make that connection.
I mean, let's all be clear here. Dave Filoni's clearly a massive Darth Maul fan.
Yes, I mean
So
everyone
like,
is.
yeah. So like, he maybe he views himself as Moff Gideon slightly.
Maybe. Um, I like that the R4 unit. I forget, is it R4? Oh
R5D4.
yeah, got to do his own little like save the day situation of
Yeah.
unlocking each of the gates. Um, but yeah, the way Mando dealt with those guys, I thought was sick. Each like swapping weapons, fighting each of them differently, and then what else? Like there was, it felt like so much happened.
Yeah,
I
it was lots of just like 4 or 5 minute bits, just bang, 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 bang. It was
yeah, but
action packed.
yeah, every fight was so well choreographed and so well put together. Obviously we had Axe Wolves kind of trying to take on a fleet of TIE fighters and destroyers on his own, and then just decided, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna plunge this straight into the ground and give everyone about a
Yeah.
5 minute warning, if that.
When it was really cool though, when as it's coming straight down, he just shoots out the window and just cuts out the window. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, that was really dope.
Yeah,
The
my
barrel
man had a
roll
plan.
out of a Star Destroyer
He was just
is
like, I'm gonna ride this right to the end, make sure it's really aimed perfectly, and then I'll get out.
uh-huh.
Um,
It was so good.
there was, to be honest, the Praetorian Guards, even though they got absolutely murked, I love seeing them again. The way that they like appeared while and took on Grogu. There was a lot of moments where I thought either Grogu was gonna die, Mando was gonna die, or even Bo was gonna die.
Yeah.
And when I like genuinely surprised that none of them did. But the fact that they
Yeah,
were able
it
to
makes me worried for now that we know there's a film coming and we know how much Dave Filoni likes to make us sad. Is he just gonna build up all these characters we love and like only 3 or 4 of them make it out alive?
Here's my theory though, right? If our theory of Grogu being the one to lead Mandalore means Bo has to die.
Mm-hmm.
So there's gonna come a point where Bo is gonna something's gonna happen. Um and I think that might be in the film.
Mm.
But overall, I love the finale. I love the fun and like the happy ending of them flying to the New Republic camp. Dave Filoni this time, like full on cameo on camera, not just the
Uh-huh.
back of his head. Um, and then they made the little deal. Grogu got his nuggets.
Yeah. We
Uh,
got IG-12 back.
yes, we got IG-12 back, who is now the sheriff.
I loved how he was like, I'm here to it's like the only good police officer.
Yeah,
All cops are bastards except IG-12. or IG-11,
IG-12 is
sorry.
yeah, well, um,
Whichever it is.
yeah, I loved that. I loved all the different like kind of trophies they had up. Um, I need to
Well,
look up what that stormtrooper helmet with the claw marks in because I feel
question.
like I've seen that somewhere.
Question.
Yes,
Now, be sensitive to the fact that I'm not that far through Rebels.
yes,
Um, but Ezra collects helmets. I know that, and likes to collect trophies from the Empire.
yeah.
And we saw Zeb in that exact same bar earlier in this series.
I would
So
say
is
that it
that
wouldn't.
maybe a habit Zeb has picked up from Ezra?
I wouldn't be surprised if it is.
Or
Um,
maybe even just a little reference to that.
yeah, and I think it's also kind of like war. Like people in wars collected things from like you got to think like when we fought back in World War II, like people collected German
Yeah.
military gear. So it's a very common thing to do. I think there's something about that stormtrooper helmet though with the claws marks. I need to look it up. But I thought it was very cool that he like purposefully went there because he knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, they have their own little place just outside of town.
So
Dad and son moment.
do we think that whoever we meet in Skeleton Crew, because we know that's operating around the Outer Rim around at a similar time,
Hmm.
do we think that we end up bumping into them during season 4?
Wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of run in with them. I hope it's in Mando and they don't do a Book of Boba Fett situation and have halfway through Skeleton Crew, Mando hijacks the
Yeah,
show
that
for
would not
like
be good.
3 episodes.
And I mean, if they've done that after getting Jude Law in to be the face of Skeleton Crew, that'd be pretty shitty.
Hmm.
But if they want to have them make a cameo
The other way.
in Mando in season 4, because season 1 of Skeleton Crew will be out and done then,
Mm-hmm.
that could be really cool. Depending on what's going on.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
there's a lot they could do with this because you've got to think this is a period when the like we have these warlords. So do you know what I think might happen? Season 4 might also include Mando hunting down some of these Shadow Council people.
that'd be really cool.
Um,
Go, what's the game? Dishonored, just Grogu going around killing the Shadow Council one at a
well,
time.
it's gonna be. I think what we're gonna see is a lot of different planets, so Grogu can understand different races and cultures like Mando does. It's gonna be a lot of star travel, a lot of combat because he's got to improve. Um, yes, I think it's going to be a very much kind of back to the sheriff esque,
Yeah.
like
I
cowboy
also think
style.
I also think we're gonna get a little teenage Grogu grumpy era during his training.
Probably where he wants to do his own thing.
Yeah, where Mando's like, no, you got to do this. Like, you know, like the trope that's like in the Karate Kid and any kind of thing where you've got the young student and the
Mm-hmm.
elder teacher. You're like, why are we doing it this way? And then they're like, wax on, wax off, and like you're like, oh my god, you were teaching me karate the
Well, do you
entire
know what's
time.
going to happen? It's like Mando's going to be teaching someone, and Grogu's just going to be like, "But I can do it this way," and just force pull something,
Yeah.
or like uses the force, and Mando's going to be like, "No, you need to learn to not fully rely on the force. You need to be a
Yeah.
full, well-rounded warrior."
Yeah. It's really, really interesting. I just can't wait to see what we get next. And I am sad it's over. I want more
So
of
am
it.
I. I'm excited for Ahsoka though. Excited for the
I
Thrawn reveal in Ahsoka.
I think that we let Dave Filoni finish off fixing the sequels, which is clearly what his plan is and what the Mandoverse is going to deal with and all of that. And then you sit him down and you go, what do you want to do to the Star Wars universe? And he goes, okay, cool. I want to go work in the High Republic, or I want to go 200-300 years past everything we've seen so far and go even further in the future and do something there where I have a bit more of a clean slate, so that I can really build something, and you just give it to him. Let him do it. If you look at all of the unique characters he's been instrumental in bringing forward via the Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Rebels and Mandalorian and all of that, just give the man the gates. The keys to the gate.
The only other thing that he might think about doing before he moves on is something set during the Disney trilogy. So I like how he used Clone Wars animated to fix the prequels in a lot of ways. Maybe he comes up with something that needs to go in there just to help fix one last thing or something. I don't know, but
maybe
I do hope that once, like you say, once things are fixed and squared off, he is given kind of the free reign to be like, okay, where do you want to go next? And he's like, well, I have a really good idea for this. And it's completely somewhere new. And they're just like, yeah, sure, go for it. Like, we trust you. George trusts you.
Because I feel like a lot of what we've seen from Star Wars is Coruscant and the Outer Rim. That's about it.
Yeah.
Like really in depth.
Yeah.
Give us some. Give us some more. We know it's a big universe. We know there's some stuff going on. Let him do a fully live action flashback series to Camp Dooku as a fucking apprentice or whatever. I don't care. Whatever he wants to do, just let him do it.
That, or I don't know, go back to when Yoda was only a young training.
A lot of people were adamant, and I don't know too much about it again because I think it gets dealt with in Rebels. But after what looked like in Ahsoka, the place in between, whatever it's called, a lot of people are like, what if Grogu goes through the place in between and ends up actually being Yoda? Which I think would diminish how unique a character Grogu would be.
Yeah, no.
But it would also be a little bit like a, what? That would be wild.
It would, but I think there's been too many instances of like Dave saying like these are this is not baby Yoda, like this is different.
Them fighting the baby Yoda allegations this entire time to just make him baby Yoda would be
I think they
outrageous.
want them. Here's the thing: like they want them to be their own separate characters, and they're like Dave said, like they don't like they have rough ideas about that race, but like they haven't and not necessarily intend to dive into the race of what Yoda and Grogu are. Or I know he said they have no like they think it's actually better to not dive into who Grogu's family is, and like he is Mando is his family, and leave it at that. Which I think is the right call.
I would be really curious to know more about Yoda species though, because we've got 3 that we know of. Yoda, I forget the lady one. What's her called? What's her? Yaddle.
Yaddle. Yeah. Yaddle, I think.
And then Grogu. And we know nothing about them.
No.
We know they live a long time. we know as a general rule they're all quite force sensitive,
Mm-hmm.
and that they tend to sit more on the neutral to light side of the force. And although they're all quite force sensitive, only few of them actually go into the Jedi Order because of like their personal alignment. But like we know all about them.
Yeah, we don't.
It's crazy.
Might be something we see in the film that's set like the Dawn of the Jedi. Maybe there's some more of it revealed then.
It'd just be so interesting. And don't get me wrong, I kind of like the mystery around these characters. They're
Mm.
they're so powerful. We know nothing about them. Ooh. But at
Yeah.
the same time, we're like, I really want to know more. There's got to be
Well,
interesting stories cutting about.
that's the thing. Everyone wants to know more about Star Wars, and there's just so much to explore in it.
Yeah. When you build such a big, interesting universe,
Mm-hmm.
everyone will always be fighting over what should be focused on at any given
Yeah.
time. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people who like give us more Dathomir lore, give
Yeah.
us a series set during like the peak of Dathomir. Let us see what's cracking.
Yeah, no, that's also like there's so much that they can
Hmm.
go into.
So,
Um,
Dave, get to work.
yeah, but overall, great finale. Looking forward to Ahsoka. Looking forward to the next season. I'm looking forward to the film.
Mm.
It's going to be a very good time for Star Wars.